I'm not sure this guy will ever live up to his first call because his first call was unbelievable, but he has made good calls since then. Let's find out. Let's go to Southfield. Jeff in Southfield. Jeff, what's going on?
Thanks for the find, Jim. Jim, after the recent Green Bay clone stock, Kyle in Green Bay tweeted, and I quote, "I'm not really a clone like you losers. I hardly listen to the show anymore. I just know how to use the show to my advantage. It's called marketing," end quote. Hey, Kyle, if you're just using the show to market yourself, then let us help you with that. Hey, brides-to-be, do you want your wedding videotaped by a guy who's known for calling national radio shows to brag about his trip to the strip club? Then you want Kyle in Green Bay videography. When you call Kyle, you get more than just a videographer. You get the videographer who thinks approaching married couples and saying your husband's a loser is a strong alpha move. Yes, with Kyle in Green Bay, your video might get titled Jumpman Jillet Wedding because, oh man, he's nervous. But don't worry, Kyle will calm those nerves by getting good and liquored up. And soon enough, Kyle will be insisting that your wedding party ain't no party until someone's drunk ass has been tossed onto a table like it was a Bills game. But that's not all you get with Kyle in Green Bay videography. With Kyle, you also get the guy who doesn't just know to wear a suit to your wedding. You have to ask him. And if you don't, he's showing up in the cheap-ass Kyle in Green Bay embroidered polo shirt that he ordered from his Uline catalog. If you want to contact Kyle, go to his Twitter. He's the guy in his avatar standing on the roof of a car with a beer in his hand and a sloppy-ass wasted look on his face. Yes, that's Kyle in Green Bay videography, run by Kyle, a guy who's still chasing that wild teenage party in his late 20s. Hey, Kyle, I'm not seeing the wisdom in your marketing strategy, bro. May I suggest replacing it with one that involves growing the hell up? Just saying.
Jeff in Southfield calling up to talk about Kyle in Green Bay's marketing strategy.
Rack him.
I got to be honest, I didn't know that Kyle was a videographer. All right, so just Jeff in Southfield doing Jeff in Southfield things. Weird, kind of funny, good. It'll never be as good as his first call. Nothing will. But again, I don't want to discourage Jeff. He makes the show better. Even when he devotes an entire 2 minutes to Kyle in Green Bay's marketing strategy. Then again, you tell me what's better. What's better, that or him doing fake John in New York the last time he called?
Jim, that interview that you did the other month with heavyweight champ Del Monte Wilder, that was like the best interview that I ever heard in my whole life, Jim. Jim, your interviews are the most awesome interviews in the history of radio, Jim.
The amazing thing about that was, number one, this is how weird Jeff is. Like, Jeff thinks to himself, all right, what am I going to do? The first call that Jeff made, and I've said this before, and I can't say it enough, it was so weird and so different that I heard the call, and I literally thought throughout the call, what the hell is happening? Not who the hell is this, but what the hell is happening? It was so bizarre and so weird, but so awesome. And having done this show for a quarter of a century and having heard every kind of call, I never heard a call like that. So where does a guy like that go from there? Well, now we're starting to see his brand, right? He's taking runs at clones that you would never expect. Like John in New York. John in New York's so innocuous, man. All he does, he just loves the show. He loves me. He loves the show. He's totally harmless. He's totally devoted. And yet there's Jeff in Southfield going in on him. And I played part of that. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view, John responded by literally doing exactly what Jeff in Southfield said that he did.
Awesome spot, Jim. Crushed it. On point, on market. Everything was like, I was like pumping my chest out when I saw that. I was telling my friends about that. You know, people who think you're all about Hollywood and everything. I was like, how can you not like that guy?
Now, you tell me, that's the guy. That's my man, John in New York. Does he sound like this guy?
Jim, that interview that you did the other month with heavyweight champ Del Monte Wilder, that was
Did he say
like
Del Monte?
the best interview that I
Del
ever
Monte.
heard.
All right, so that's Jeff in Southfield. And then, so I never know what I'm going to get now. And really quickly, to go back to the first call, Alvin, if you have any of that, the reason we never know anything or where this guy's going to go is because the first call he made, and I never heard of him or knew anything about him, and he shows up and he gets off this unbelievable rant on Arthur Fonzarelli.
Jim, Fonzie is the first clone ever. He was a clone before you were even born. Think about it, clones. The character Fonzie on Happy Days was an adult male, aged somewhere between 30 and 45, not married, no kids, and living in the spare bedroom of a suburban family's home. Now that's a clone if ever there was one, Jim. I wonder if Fonzie's full name was Arthur Caleb Fonzarelli. Jim, while my respect for the Fonz as a clone has skyrocketed, my respect for the notion of the TV character Fonzie as a ladies' man has plummeted. No wonder he never got a second date with Pinky Tuscadero. Turns out his hopes of scoring with her got Malachi crunched between two realities. He doesn't have enough money to take her anywhere better than Arnold's, and two, the bed he wanted to take her to is in the spare bedroom of Mr. and Mrs. Cunningham's house. You know, that elbow in the jukebox trick is a lot less cool when the song that drops is Beck's Soy Un Perdedor. But that's what you get when you hang with Ralph and Patsy. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. In the time of Happy Days, lunch with the monkey. Okay, enough of that. Jim, I don't want to blow the best first call in jungle history by going too long, so I'll leave you now with a quote from Keith Richards. After all is said and done, got to move while it's still fun. Better walk before I get run. Bam, 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 bam.
Like that guy. I never heard of that guy before. That was so weird and so awesome. And there's no doubt that not only was the best first call in the history of the program, that's one of the best calls ever. That's not only one of the best calls ever, that's one of the best things I've ever heard. That good. And yet still many of you think that he's Mike from Indy. That it's one and the same guy. Definitely not Mike from Indy. So you never know what you're going to get. Why don't we start a pool? Who's the next clone that he's going to go in on? He just got John from New York. He just got Kyle in Green Bay. I mean, I'd say he'd go after one of the big dogs, but I doubt it. He started off with Caleb in Green Bay in that opening call. Who's next? Josh from Detroit. Iray. Parody Larry. Silk, except he's won a smack off. Jason in Harrisburg. I don't know. He's thinking about one of these guys. It's got to be one of those six. You never know. Rack him. Jeff in Southfield. Is he currently qualified for the smack off? He doesn't have to earn a golden ticket. He's already in. He's in. No, he had an invite last year. He's in. You know, I always say that if you've won the smack off, you've got a lifetime exemption. I'm going to say Jeff in Southfield, although he's never won the thing, based on his first call ever, because it's the best first call ever, that's almost an exemption onto itself. If you do something that's never been done before on the program, whatever that is, you're almost guaranteed an invite every single year. So he's in. Jeff in Southfield going in on Kyle in Green Bay's marketing plan for his videography. I don't even know he was a videographer.